Today we're taking you to the famous Milford Sound. The weather was rough and rainy, but honestly, that's the best way to see hundreds of waterfalls. On our way to the wild west coast of New Zealand, we also found a secret waterfall. And in the end, we could even see a massive glacier almost from the beach. So get ready for a full dose of New Zealand's natural beauty.
Hey. Manuel. Hey.
It's early in the morning and today we head towards Milford Sound. It's famous for a lot of rain, so it is raining today. Hope we get some tour log because the online booking system yesterday didn't work. And hopefully we see a lot of waterfalls, which is really great. So there be a lot of waterfalls on the walls of the fjord. And first we need to get out of town.
Our starting point was Te Anau, the last real town where you can stock up on groceries and fuel. From here it's about 120 kilometers through almost untouched landscape all the way to Milford Sound. The further you drive, the more dramatic it gets.
The rain gives the mountains this really mystical atmosphere. Still, we were hoping it wouldn't be too foggy or pouring down so hard that we couldn't see anything once we reached the fjord. A little rain is perfect. A complete whiteout, not so much.
But all that rain is exactly what creates one of the highlights on the road to Milford Sound. Hundreds of waterfalls running down the steep cliffs. Every few meters there's another one, and during heavy rain they just appear out of nowhere.
Right before you reach Milford Sound, you drive through a narrow tunnel that cuts through the last mountain range. On the other side, the valley suddenly opens and you're surrounded by these steep rock faces. It's honestly one of the most spectacular roads we've ever driven.
So we made it to Milford Sound and the rain stopped. So now we have a view.
We parked outside the main area, because parking there was free. The only catch, you should arrive early because spaces are limited and you have to be ready to walk about 15 to 20 minutes to the boat terminal. We didn't mind at all. Even the walk to the harbor is already really scenic.
In the end, getting boat tickets was super easy, and we could start the tour right away. Because the rain had stopped, we spent most of the time on the top deck and enjoyed the full panorama of the fjord.
The reason it suddenly stopped raining was a strong breeze coming from the sea. Great for visibility, not so great for our hair. We both got a proper storm hairstyle out of it.
It was so windy that some of the waterfalls were literally blown back upwards. Watching water try to fall down and then being pushed back up into the air was kind of surreal.
Milford Sound is one of the most famous touristic destinations in New Zealand, but standing there between these massive cliffs and endless waterfalls, it didn't really feel touristy to us. More like raw, overwhelming nature that just makes us feel tiny.
After rushing in the morning to make sure we'd still get a spot on a boat, we could finally slow down a bit on the way back and stop at a few highlights along the road.
It started raining again, but we're here to see the Chasm, it's called. We'll see what that is.
After about a 10-minute walk, we reached a narrow gorge. Or at least we should have. Unfortunately, the bridge and viewing platform were destroyed, so you couldn't actually see down into the chasm.
Yeah, you can see the remains on the other side.
Still, the forest around us was beautiful.
Our next stop were the Mirror Lakes, where the surrounding mountains are supposed to reflect perfectly in the water. At first, with the wind and rain, there was zero reflection, just grey ripples. But after waiting a bit, the surface calmed down, and you could start to see why these lakes are worth a stop.
We spent the night in Queenstown, and the next morning, under a blue sky and sunshine, we continued our drive towards the west coast of the South Island.
Before we actually reached the coast, we took a short coffee break at a secret waterfall along the road. Hidden, but still surprisingly close to the highway. The perfect excuse to stretch our legs.
Getting there was a bit of an adventure. You have to be ready to walk through cold river water and over slippery stones. The waterfall wasn't quite as secret as the pool we found in Australia, but it's also right next to the road and honestly really impressive.
If you enjoy discovering hidden spots like this with us, leave us a like. It really helps our channel and lets us know you want to see more of these places.
On the way, there was also another waterfall, the Fantail Falls. Not as spectacular as our secret waterfall, but still a really beautiful stop, especially with the mossy rocks and dense forest around it.
After so many waterfalls and mountains, we were ready to see the ocean again. The west coast is barely populated, which means the beaches are almost untouched. Compared to the east coast, it's much greener here, and thick rainforests grow almost right down to the shore.
Our route followed a winding road north, until we reached an open plain where you can see massive glaciers from the distance. It's such a strange combination. Palm-like plants, rainforest, and then a huge ice field in the background.
Fox Glacier is almost visible from the beach, which Manuel found incredibly impressive. I, on the other hand, am more of a get in touch with the ice person, and was a bit underwhelmed. Especially when I discovered that national park regulations won't even allow us to walk close to the glacier. Expectations versus reality, I guess.
Our final destination that day was the neighboring village of Franz Josef Glacier. Along the coastline there are actually several glaciers that come down from the southern Alps towards the sea.
Waking up and seeing ice fields in the distance from your tent or car, not something you experience every day.
Good morning. Today we are at Franz Josef Glacier here in New Zealand, and we wanted to do a long hike to Robert Point, but it's closed due to maintenance today and tomorrow. So we take a short walk to Douglas Point or Douglas Walk. We'll see how that is. Weather is pretty nice today. Hopefully it will stay that way.
On our hike we discovered mirror-like lakes and had some really nice viewpoints over the valley.
That was a short hike. 18 minutes later and the suspension bridge is not open.
With the good weather, everything around us was glowing in deep greens and blues.
So, because of the closed bridge, we are now doing a little jungle walk, which is basically just 2.5 kilometers. Yeah. And then we're back at the car park. We wanted to be sporty, but no chance today. Yeah.
Like almost everywhere in the world, the glaciers in New Zealand are shrinking fast. You can now only see the ice from quite a distance. When Manuel was here back in 2008, you could still walk right up to the glacier front without any problem. Seeing how far it has retreated since then is pretty shocking.
In the afternoon, we headed back to Fox Glacier and also visited Lake Matheson. There are so many beautiful places around here that you could easily spend several days just exploring trails, lakes and viewpoints.
And the answer is nope. No perfect reflection. So, this is our mobile accommodation in New Zealand, which I just organized. And I must say, it's actually quite comfy. Comments to the mobile accommodation?
Quick to set up.
And? Comfy.
More or less.
Old man.
The next morning it was pouring down again, so it was time to leave the west coast behind. We crossed the Southern Alps via Arthur's Pass, and somewhere up there the weather finally cleared. For the first time that day, we could actually pull over and enjoy the views.
So we left the glacier region and it was raining cats and dogs today, so we couldn't stop at a lot of sites. Now we are at a cave, but the sign says we really need to be more prepared than we are, so I think we will skip that one as well. From there, a short path leads to the entrance of the cave. We weren't really equipped for proper caving or swimming through underground rivers, but at least we wanted to take a look at the entrance and see how far we could safely go.
And from here on, you need to swim.
Yeah, that's the part where you need the extra equipment, but this part is already pretty spectacular.
Standing inside the cave, it became clear pretty quickly. From this point on, you'd either have to swim or bring serious equipment. Not exactly a casual hike anymore.
Whether we actually went in or what happened next, you'll find out in the next week's episode. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye.